For everybody that's new, the listening is new for Dead in Hip Hop. Like I said, we've done it 3 times, Brother Ali. Appreciate you. You responded really quick, so that's why we was like, "Yep, this date works perfect. We're gonna get you in there." It's been a minute since we've had you on the program, man. It's been like 11 years, which is crazy.
That's crazy. But you guys have reviewed stuff. I know you reviewed the Evidence record. You skipped Love and Service last year, but that's cool. But you guys did the Evidence album, though. That's dope.
Yep. So for everybody that is new here, doesn't know what the listening is, we play one old song, one current song, and one unreleased song. And if you are a YouTube member or Patreon, you get to watch the full review, including the music. But if you just, you know what I'm saying, want to support your boys and support the artists, we'll put it up, we'll re-upload it for free on YouTube without the music. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get the interview portion. But if you want the music, especially that unreleased joint, make sure you become a YouTube member or a Patreon today at the access level or higher. That being said, you see who we got on here, man. We've been promoting it for like 2-3 weeks now. Brother Ali. And we got an extra special guest as well, Myke C-Town. C-Town, what it do, man?
Special guest. That's family right there.
It is fam, but he is a special guest too. He's both.
I'll take special guest. How's
cool. Myke C-Town a guest? Is there something I don't know?
Right.
Did you quit the band? What's going on?
Oh, Ali. Man. Yeah, we got stuff to talk about. Yeah. They kicked me out the band, Ali.
Ain't nobody kicked you.
You guys just invited me over for dinner and didn't tell me. There was like, you know, somebody be like, "Why don't you come over for dinner?" And be like, "We're actually in the middle of a terrible divorce."
The fan base told us we cannot do this without him, and we already knew that. So, you know, extra special guest.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That means a lot. Yes, Thank you, Myke.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let them talk to you, Ali, without me.
That's what's up. So look, we got an old joint that Myke C-Town selected. So we're gonna get into that. We got the current joint Brother Ali selected, and we got an unreleased joint. So again, you guys stay tuned. Myke, this is how we're gonna do it. I'm going to let you intro the song, the name of it, why you selected it. Brother Ali chime in, and then we'll get right into the music.
Okay. Do I sound okay right now?
Yes. Sound good,
cool.
Myke.
Okay. The song that I picked, Ali, is Palm the Joker. The reason I picked this song is because it's one of my favorite songs from you. It has some of my favorite bars from you. The production is unbelievable. And I feel like I've only seen you perform the song live one time, if my memory serves me correct, which it doesn't always, but I think it does this time. So
sounds right.
I really wanted to hear you talk about this song because I don't think I've ever heard you speak on it, but to me, it's one of your best songs, especially the hook. So that was really why I picked it.
Okay. Well, that's dope. First of all, yeah, it's not one of the songs that people talk about all the time. This is a song that really is about people who just make a mess of their life all the time and don't acknowledge it and don't, like basically blame everybody else for all their problems and stuff. I just gotta give a shout out to my first wife because she's the motivation for a lot of it. But I mean, we all have this element, at some point. Like everybody makes a mess in their own life as part of the human condition. But then we all know people that like that's their address. That's how they identify. That's their pronouns. Like messy is like that's their pronouns. And yeah, man. So that's the idea of the thing. Yeah, the beat and the hook. That beat always. There's a couple of things that me and Ant made during that time that kind of remind me, like they felt like they could have been on the Black album or something. Like the way that this beat sounds, it always feels like Jay's like Mama Carter could be Sean Carter was born December 4th. Isn't that special? But there was just like, it's funny, like there was like this very like triumphant kind of, that was one of the things that hip hop was doing at that time. Was like this like triumphant, like I've defied all the odds and I've made it, and so it has that feeling to it. And so I kind of thought it was funny that it's a victorious sounding kind of beat. But like what I'm saying in the record is just talking about people who will never overcome themselves.
Yep, that's what I've always taken from it. Like the line where you said, we spend days punching brick walls, the scabs will rip them off and fill them bitches with salt. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and just talk about how dope you are, but that's such, it's such a vivid line. But yeah, the hook is always what got me, and that's why I remember you only doing it one time, because I absolutely love that hook, especially the part about the brown and blue armies are always at war. What on earth they want to harm me for? I have my assumptions, but the brown and blue armies, can you just real quick, can you explain what the brown and blue armies are?
So in my mind, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, people could probably take this 100 different ways, but for me, it's brown people and the police.
That's what I thought. Okay. I don't want to misquote you, but that's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah, it's the police. So it's basically, that's the idea is that, and that's where the hook is just kind of like everybody is just trying to make it through life. You know what I mean? But the verses are a lot more about, man, people that just make things so terrible for themselves because the only way they know how to identify is as a victim.
Yep.
And so it's like the worse that people can make it for themselves, the more of a sob story they got. It's like that's some people's only currency.
Yep.
I feel that. Good pick, Myke.
All right, let's get into it.
Sean Carter was born December 4th. Isn't that special?
So the 11 never hits and palm the joker.
I just, when I said no shit, yeah shit, I just realized like where that's from.
Where's that?
It's from Hesh, the old Jewish guy on Sopranos.
Oh.
Like me and my wife just rewatched The Sopranos. And every time somebody says no shit, he always goes, yeah, shit. I'm like, oh man, I'm pretty sure that's where I would have got, because I've never heard anybody else say that. And like that came from that time when The Sopranos was the thing. You know what I mean? I probably, maybe I did it on purpose, or maybe I didn't. I don't know.
It's funny because I'm watching Sopranos for the first time. I just finished the second season, and I am one episode in on the third season. But it's been this conversation that we've had among each other over the last couple of weeks about the Sopranos, because Myke is.
We're not getting into this. We're not doing it. Look,
I'm just saying.
Ali's here for a good time.
I know. I'm not saying your opinion. I'm just saying I'm watching. I just said I haven't. So I just thought it was funny because I would actually get the reference now.
Yeah.
Where I never would have picked it up the first time.
So season 2, is that the season with Ralphie, or is that the season with?
Yeah, season 2 is with Ralphie.
Okay. So you're about to meet Richie. You're about to meet Richie Aprile.
No. Season 2 is Richie Aprile. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met Richie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did Janice go back to Seattle yet?
This is so funny. Oh my god.
Yes, it is.
Oh man.
I haven't really watched TV. When The Sopranos and The Wire came out, that was like the only time I watched TV. I'm not a TV person at all. But those two shows, and like I just can't get over them. They're just still I don't even know if there's other good shows. I haven't watched anything since.
All right, so it's an inside thing that we're laughing at right now, because you've mentioned two things that I know is just irking Myke. So Sopranos is the one, And then Jay, you mentioned Jay, like the whole December 4th thing. So Myke is like, dang man, one of my favorite MCs is mentioning two things I just do not like.
I know. Yeah. I know we disagree about Jay-Z. But I mean, you know, it's funny because Jay-Z is like, I don't agree with his worldview at all. You know what I mean? To me, it's like, I'm like, to me, it's between him and Yasiin Bey. And I'm Yasiin Bey, like that's how I identify, you know what I mean? Like that's what I believe in.
Yeah.
But with Jay-Z, it's like the times that he really speaks to me and like is when I'm feeling aspirational about being an MC and about being successful and about, you know, but I don't actually believe him or believe in like what he, you know.
Yeah.
But there are times when you just this kind of like spirit of there's a certain spirit that really resonated with me when I was in periods where it's like, man, we got to figure out how to make this happen.
I feel that.
But yeah, it's funny. Him and Yasiin Bey have this weird kind of, I don't know if it's a rivalry or something, but it's just like, okay, they know it's like they're the two MCs from Brooklyn that outlived Big, and you know everybody knows who's more financially and successful. You know what I mean? But like deep down, Jay-Z is kind of like, man, this Yasiin Bey guy, this Mos Def is he's kind of, you know, and they have interesting back and forth that like, because Yasiin's never shared it publicly, I can't, but it's not ugly or anything like that, but Yasiin will just say things to him that I'm like, whoa, you said that? You know what I mean? Like, wow.
Man, I never knew that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I never even saw it that way. Yeah, but that's
and Yasiin was in 2 movies with Beyonce. He was in Carmen the Hip Hop.
Oh yeah,
yep, he sure was. Robert Townsend produced that. Yeah, directed and produced that.
And then they're both in Cadillac Records too.
Yeah, that's
sure
right.
Was. They sure was. Yep.
And then I feel like is Yasiin in the Change Clothes video, or did he like have something to do with it or something?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. But then also Kanye was putting those guys on tracks with the Rockefeller guys.
Yep. Yeah,
is Jay-Z on the Get By remix or something? Maybe him and Yasiin are both on that.
If they're not on that song, I think they're both on that album. They could be on that remix as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I always put together is that they both from Brooklyn. But yeah, what you said, Ali, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, they're from the same neighborhood. I mean, Yasiin is more known for Roosevelt houses, but he also lived in Marcy. His family is from Marcy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. But regarding the track though, man, that's a really dope track, and I think the idea that you had Myke pick it, I think that's cool because we hadn't done that yet. So I think that's an interesting way of doing it. We talked about it when he told us that, like, yo, he wants us to pick the old one or whatever. I was like, oh, that's actually an interesting concept versus you picking the old one. I mean, obviously you've been doing this for a very long time, so he's like, nah, y'all, you know, I want to know what the people like at this point. So I thought that was really cool. And it was a good pick.
It's an interesting thing to be like, well, which ones of your own music do you want to talk about? And it's like, I don't know. I just want to talk to y'all. I'd rather not talk about my music at all. I mean, I'm happy to do it, like, you know. But I was more so like, man, I want to see these guys.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. We appreciate you being here for real.
There were always just lines in that song that always stuck out to me. Like another one was the line about metal and which one will go better in the ear. And I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying, but I always took that as, you know, if he's at the shop and he's looking through the glass, does he pick an earring that goes in the ear, or does he pick a gun that he puts to somebody's ear? Is that what you were getting at?
No, it's about it's about a person being suicidal. I see a poor victim's face reflecting in the pawn shop glass pistol case.
Yeah.
So like as a person like in the pawn shop looking at the pistol case, the breath makes it foggy and then it gets clear. Which metal here would fit best in the ear? It's talking about like a person being suicidal.
Okay. I thought he was trying to pick one or the other. Like, do I go with this earring that'll go dope in the ear? Or do I go with this gun that will go? Okay, so I was sort of close but off. But either way, I love it.
Yeah,
That's dope.
no, it's a suicidal thing, and it's funny because I mean that song is really about my first wife, and you know, but and she's never been suicidal. It's funny, like you know, like suicide runs in my family, and like the men in my family, my dad died like that, my grandfather died like that, and Dave Chappelle has that joke about like. You know, he's like, man, white people got a brittle spirit. And he tells a story about his friend that was about to be the star of the team or something. Or no, he got a law degree and married some girl and ended up working at Foot Locker. He was like, never occurred to this dude to kill himself. And it's funny, man, my first wife has been struggling ever since we parted ways. And she's still out here figuring it out. Just, you know. Scraping by and all this kind of stuff, but that's what that line is about is and more so the you know there's a thing of like where people have this kind of like suicidal gestures as a you know as a way to seek attention and to let other people know that they're hurting. I think that was the idea.
I love it.
So okay, so I got a question. So Ali, when you said this album was about your wife. So I think you said a line about you were saying something like swapping down bridges with lighter fluids, too timid to burn them down. I hope the lightning do it or something like that. Like what did that mean? What did that line mean?
So like that idea of like burning. Yeah, no, the metaphor of burning bridges, like ruining relationships. Okay. And so basically causing situations, like creating situations where somebody else will get so frustrated with you that they'll walk away. And then it's like, well, look, here's more bad things that are happening. This person left me and this person doesn't deal with me anymore. And this person betrayed me and this person it's like some people, man, are like, you know, just being so dedicated to like the only thing I'm good at is making a mess in my life so that I can get some sympathy, you know. And it's just like, man, some folks, no matter what happens, like they don't believe that they could actually reach goals or achieve things, or you know. So it's like the best I could possibly get is some sympathy for how bad my life is. So let me make my life bad because that's the only reward I know how to get.
Wow. Okay. And wow. that line stuck out.
So
yeah.
I don't know how personal you want to get because it just feels like that's kind of where the conversation is going. But like with your ex-wife,
I always want to get personal. Like what?
like when did you start realizing? When did you start like these things with your ex-wife? Like how did they manifest into you just making music about it?
I mean, it's like I make music about everything, and especially in those times when I was a lot more, you know, there was just a lot more anger and sadness and, you know, things like that. And making music about those things is so empowering because you get to, especially when people listen, and you gotta be careful about how you use that power, but it's really empowering to be struggling with something and like you get to have the final word on it. You get to shape it and set the scene and, you know, all the characters and all that stuff. And you can exaggerate if you want. You can lie a little bit if you want. And that's my whole like truth is here thing. Like I really try not to exaggerate and especially not lie. But it's like you kind of make the movie about your own life. You know what I mean? And then especially when other people listen to it, it's like, I get to tell the stories of the things that happened to me. And, you know, so I try not to abuse people. I try not to, you know, just destroy people by making music about them. Yeah. You know, but
did she know it was about her? at that time?
It's funny, man. I don't think she ever listens to my music. I think once I stopped being her husband, I don't think she's thought about me since. It's just really like I just don't think she's like, well, that dude's not paying for my stuff anymore, so I think that was it. Like she doesn't hold. I don't think she has any grudges. I don't think she's like ever tried to sabotage me. I don't think that. I think she just really just moved on. I don't, you know. So I doubt she ever listens.
Got you. So you made that song while y'all were like still together, or y'all already separated, or divorced?
We were already separated. I think we were divorced. I think I made that like while we were, because there's a period like where you'd like try to figure out like what's this gonna be like between us. You know, because we had a son together, and so it's like, are we gonna co-parent? Are we gonna like, how's this gonna go? And I think there was like some ongoing stuff during that time. Gotcha. So we were separated, but you know, there was still, she was still on my mind. You know what I mean, in terms of like irritating me and causing trouble.
Got you. All right, well, you got a new project coming out, Satisfy Soul. You and Ant back at it, and that's where that's where we're gonna transition into the current song. You selected drum. Go ahead and intro that.
So the drum is like this. This album is about like healing in music, and like what a beautiful thing it is to just have music as a way to connect with people and connect with meaning and connect with God and connect with ourselves, and like. You know, so there's a few songs on this album that are almost like just my gratitude for music. And this one in particular is talking about the power of music to bring people together. And it specifically is the drum that does that, you know, like, and it's in spiritual ceremonies and, you know, war and celebrations and all of that. And, you know, and it's interesting, like, because I've been studying a lot. So like part of why I moved to Istanbul is, you know, I've always really loved Islam, but you know, as I come into this next part of my life, I'm like, I just really want to make this the focus of my life. And one of the conversations that has always been going on in the Muslim community for 1,000 years is how careful we should be about how we use music. There are those that have the opinion that we shouldn't make music, especially not professionally. I don't agree with them on that, but I do think that music's really powerful, and we should be really intentional about it. And one of the main things in that conversation is that there's a difference between almost none of the scholars in Islam dislike drums, but they warn against wind instruments and stringed instruments. Because of their power to affect the heart in ways that like we don't always have power over. It's almost like a magic spell somebody can cast on us. But so I was just really thinking about, you know, on the other album, Love and Service, that I put out last year, when the symphony is active, what did I say? Like when the symphony, when there's like melody and harmony, like notes, there's something that goes on like in our mind and in our heart. But drums, like the rhythm thing, is physical, and it forces, like, you know, when there's rhythm happening, people are moving together, like literally moving in the same time, and then your breathing starts to line up together, and you know, so it's just a beautiful thing. So it's kind of one of those, it's like a song about music, how much I love music, which a bunch of people have done. You know, but this is one of my love letters to music.
All right, let's get into it.
I said, can the drummer have some? Can the drummer have some more? The
All right.
Man.
Yes,
Ant did his thing on that, boy. Like, that production is crazy.
Al be sure shout out.
Yeah, that's
Did I hear a Boosie
Yeah.
shout out?
yeah. Well, Bootsy Collins, not Lil
Oh,
Boosie.
Boosie. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
I was like,
Oh,
did I hear a Boosie shout out?
Oh my
I was
god!
like, wait a minute. I couldn't wait to ask that. I was like, wait a
No, but I
minute.
mean, shout out to Lil Boosie. I mean, I click anytime he's talking about something. I click on it too. So.
That's what I'm saying. You never know. You never know, man. Boosie might drop.
Oh man,
you
yeah,
know, he might drop a
everybody
gem
loves
here
Lil
and there.
Boosie. Yeah, I don't know anybody that doesn't love Lil. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. I like that it's around the sun and unison, like how you use those words like that, man. That's so dope, man. So dope.
Now, you know what hit me when toward the I want to say it was like toward the end when you were talking about like the pitter patter and all of that type of stuff, man. Like when I hear my little dog, you know what I'm saying, just run across, you know, like it definitely affects you, you know. And like I just have I just had a kid too. Like he just turned 2 going on 3 this December, and anytime he runs, you know what I'm saying, like I've heard the difference in how he runs and how it affects me. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. So you're right. Like I never thought about it that way, but like that drum makes it moves you. Like it literally, it just moves you. So man, I never thought about it like that. So yeah.
And
super
yeah, when
dope
you hear
concept.
people walk, like there's some people that shuffle. There's some people that, you know, sometimes it'll be like the skinniest person in the house just walk the loudest and the hardest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like the most petite girl in the house that just dong 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 when they walk.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like there's a natural thing about just the rhythm of how some people, you know, when they put something down on the table. You know what I mean? And then other people are, some people, the way they just type, you know, a certain noise and all of that. Like, yeah, I think about all of that, you know?
That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's why, you know, you've been in the game for so long, you know, because you can take those little minor things and make them into a concept and then, you know, grab people's attention, you know what I'm saying, and bring them into your world. So that's fucking dope. That's really fucking dope. All right, so we're gonna move on, Brother Ali, to the unreleased joint. And this is also on the same album that releases on the 14th, on Valentine's Day. Satisfied Soul, which is the intro. Now, this is something that we always say that in hip hop. The intro sets the tone for the project. You know what I'm saying? And our previous guest that we had, I Am God, he played the intro to his upcoming project, and that was crazy. So I'm just saying, you have a high bar. You have a high bar here, brother.
All right, well, I'm a person. I am human, so.
Take that, Feefo.
You know,
Right.
So if we're comparing,
Oh
I am human.
You are the Brother Ali. Yes, sir.
oh man,
man, that was good.
that is hilarious. That's
It
really
was.
good.
That's why he's a rapper, man. He's a wordsmith.
Right. Exactly.
Light on his feet. Light on his feet.
All right, let's get into this.
Peace, this is Yasiin Bey. Proud to present to you in this moment, appearing courtesy of the true and living Almighty God.
All right.
Woo! Yo.
That beat's
Yo.
nice. That beat's
That's
nice.
crazy. It reminds me
That
of
brought
like
something out of it. Oh man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. You could definitely go. But it reminded me of like Kanye and Kid Cudi, like that. Oh my god! And then I love the distortion in your voice. You know what I'm saying? And the cuts in it. Oh my god! Hey, you set the tone. You. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. That, oh my god, thank you for that exclusive listen, man. Like the distortion, it just added something else to it. It brought something else out of you. You could tell that, like, so when you heard that beat, what was your reaction to that? Like,
I mean, you basically hear it. So like I heard it and I was like, oh, this is how we start the album.
Yeah.
And Ant felt a little bit weird about it because, you know, he does like really lush productions. And that one, I think that might just be a loop with the 808, which it's like kind of rare for him, you know. Like most of the time he's got like a live bass and you know, he's got like all kind of live instruments going on with the samples, and sometimes he replays the sample. But so that he did that, and then I recorded that at my like hotel or Airbnb or something. I just wrote it and recorded it, and I was like, I was telling him I was gonna re-record it because that was like what you're hearing is kind of like the demo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and re-record it. And he was cussing me out. He was like, no, fuck you. He's like, people need to know how easy it is for you to do that. No. Like everybody, like, you know, because I'm like, oh, I was gonna put a little something more on the delivery or whatever. And he was like, no, just like that.
More?
Wow.
You can hear it though. You can hear he wants to do more like that. Like you can hear it sounds like you want to get more out. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get that you sounds wanting to do a little bit more on it, but I'm glad he stopped you and like, yo, no, it's in a good pocket right now. Yeah. Like, man.
Yeah, that's why he's a great producer. Because you know, I probably would have overperformed or would have overdid it or something. And it's funny because my wife is the same way. My wife always likes the demos better because she's like, I want to hear how easy this is to you. You know what I'm saying? It's something that like when we do something, like I've done this my whole life, so it's like it's normal. I'm like, you know what I mean? And so the two of them are always just like, you don't understand how easy it is to you, and like how that's I guess impressive or something. But yeah,
it is.
Like I was just
it is
really
absolutely impressive.
I appreciate that, but I'm just like, man, that music was just like. Yeah, it just felt like war. Was
this one of the earlier songs y'all recorded?
No, it was one of the last actually. But I knew that it was going to be the beginning of the album. But I didn't really do it till almost last. Like it wasn't last, but it was really near the end.
No, I was happy when you picked that one. I really love your flow. It sounds like you just were having fun, but you still sounded aggressive. And I think it's been a hot minute since we've heard aggressive Ali. You've been in such a calm and good place, but this one sounded like you may have stubbed your toe when you woke up that morning. Something happened because you went into the studio and you really rapped. But I really love the line. It was almost like a flip on the, you know, skin folk ain't kin folk. The I'm your color, but I'm not your kind.
Yeah.
What made you throw that in there?
I mean, I think that's my whole life. Like, you could put some on my. It's like if you could have a like hologram gravestone, like when white people show up to visit it, that's what it would say. But that one's, I think the specific moment like that's about the genocide in Palestine. I'm your color, but I'm not your kind. Carry a burden that would arch your spine. My third eye saw your heart go blind. Forced to bear witness to some raw devilishness I could not co-sign. One in the sky for the servant leaders, urban teachers, and poor righteous earnest seekers, human being in the purest meaning. Yeah, that was just. It's funny because Ant really was like, man, when we started making this album, he's like, I don't think we need political things. I don't think we need that. He's like, this should be about like where you're at in your life. And so, but with that one in particular, it was like, all right. And there's a couple other like aggressive rap songs too. On the album.
Yep. How did you link up with Mellow Music Group? Because that's been one of my favorite imprints for the last like decade. Is it like a joint project? Because I know you got Travelers Media as your imprint. So is that like a joint venture, or is it strictly Mellow?
No, yeah, it's a partnership. So Merce actually suggested that because I made 2 albums. My whole thing is like I made 2 albums in 1 year. Love and Service, which came out this time last year, or came out last April, and this one, Satisfied Soul. And initially there was a company that was supposed to just do distribution for both of them. And then October 7th happened, and they're like, I didn't know that they were big time Zionists. And so we had already poured a bunch of money into into the Love and Service album, and we were doing we were thinking we had a distribution partner that was going to help us with getting the word out and all that. And then they just ghosted us. Like, they never even told us that they weren't going to put it out. They were supposed to put out both of these albums, and they just straight backed out of it. And then, I mean, we couldn't get any press. Like, nobody covered it. We paid a big publicist. I'm not naming names in that story at all, but we paid a big publicist a lot of money, spent a lot of money on that record. And nobody really even knew that it came out, except for maybe like my podcast subscribers or something. It felt like it really got blocked. So I was telling Merce, like, man, I think I need, the album was already done, mixed, mastered. B+ came and shot the photos. Brent Rollins, who's like legendary graphic designer, he did the Boys in the Hood logo and like all that kind of stuff. He did the design for it. We were already done. Like, we were planning to put it out by ourselves. And I told Merce, like, I think we need a partner. And so he suggested Mello. And then we got on the phone with that guy, and he's like, the guy that runs it, like his name is Michael, he goes by Mello. And he was just so transparent and so real and so genuine. And I told him, he was like, what do you want our deal to be? And I just told him in very plain language. And he's like, I'm going to write this up and send it back to you just like you said it. And he did. It's almost like to the word, exactly what I said. We didn't, like, a lawyer looked at it, but we didn't need to. It was in the most plain language possible. One page. This is the agreement. And so so far it's been good, you know. It's a small label, like, you know, they don't have like a huge, you know, it's not like we're about to take over the world, but I do feel the difference. Like, there's things that me and BK1 didn't know that they do, and we genuinely have a partner in it. Like, they're genuinely working on it. Good. They care about it. Yeah, which is like, that's all you really want.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more question because I actually have to check out of my hotel in 10 minutes, Ali. But I begged them to let me stay for another hour so I could do this. But I have a question. So what's always interested me is you've worked with a few other producers as far as full projects go. You worked with Jake One, we all know. And you worked with Unjust a few years back. But cause I imagine someone like you have your pick of a lot of producers that you could just be like, hey, I want to rap over your beats. What always brings you back to And? Because it sounds like there's like a magic between you two. Because there's stuff on here that I'm hearing he hasn't really revisited in the last few Atmosphere projects. And then there's a rapping style that you're throwing on here that I haven't heard in a minute too. So what is it that always brings you two back together?
Well, first of all, I don't feel like I have my pick from, you know, like, there are people that like will kind of mess with me, but in terms of like doing full projects, I don't know if they mess with me like that. So like, I make my projects with the people that are that really, really want to work with me and will show up for a full project, and like they're all about it. Okay. You know what I mean? I think I have this thing from being an albino kid where I'm like, I don't want to convince anybody that I'm valuable. So I just mess with the people that mess with me. If somebody really shows that they really deeply value me, that's who I'm going to be with. That's who I'm going to marry. That's who I'm going to work with. And so like, Jake One made it clear from the first time I met him that he's like, man, you're dope and I want to work with you. And we're like friends. And the same thing with Evidence. Yeah. And Evidence and you know, but with Ant, it's like, it's a couple things. Like, he knows me in a way that nobody else knows me. He's known me for all the different stages of me being a person, and he doesn't just let me say whatever or believe whatever about myself. Like, he very lovingly is like, no, you're also like this. Whereas like most other people are just like, yes, whatever you say. Like, he's the one person that's like, yeah, I know that's how you like to be, but you're also like that. And then the other thing is, he doesn't have any of like, he's not where I'm at politically or spiritually or anything like that. And so anything I say on his beats has to make sense to him. So it helps me speak to a broader audience other than just the people that are like me. You know, like I can, because it has to make sense to him. He's not gonna, it's like, you know, he's not just gonna go along with whatever I say. It's gotta make sense to him. So there's a certain way that I say things when I work with him that I think is more accessible, and I just like it better. I like working with him the best. You know, we're just we're similar on so many things, and then we're different on so many other things. And the ways that we're different, I just trust him.
That's dope, man.
For what we do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I really want to work with Soundtrack, and I really want to work with Stolen Drums. I don't know, maybe you guys know Stolen Drums.
Yeah, I know Stolen Drums. Yeah.
Man, I want to do a project. Like, that's what I feel like those beats, I'm like, that's what I like. That makes me
Yeah, Stolen Drums.
So maybe me and him will do a thing.
Yeah, he got that feel. I love Stolen Drums.
Man, and I don't even know him, but there's certain people that, like, before I even meet him, I'm like, that's my friend. Like, we would get along. And I told Soul Messiah that, and he was like, him and like Soul Messiah and Sa Rock, and they were like, yo, yes, you're just like him. Like, you guys were, and they called him and put him on speakerphone. I was like, hey man, I don't know if he was like, yes, whatever you're talking about, yes. I'm like,
oh wow.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Dope. Alrighty, so we're gonna get into Sita. I know you're gonna bounce. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Coming through.
Of course. It's good to see you, Ali. I love you, man. Good to see you.
I love you, brother. Hey, if you get a chance, check out Jack Frost Restaurant on Art Street.
Okay.
Jack Frost can cook. Like, he's cooked for all, especially the Muslim rappers. I mean, Beanie Siegel, Freeways, Styles P, all that. Like, man, everybody. And he opened a restaurant. And they're on Uber Eats and all that stuff, man. But also he feeds like homeless shelters almost like every 3 days with the profit from that restaurant. But man, I'm like, soul food type stuff, it's really good. I know you guys are from Atlanta, so I don't, the standards are high.
I'll tell him you sent me, man.
Please do that.
Okay. All right. Good to see you, man. I'll see y'all later.
All right. Be safe.
All right, Myke.
Yeah,
appreciate you, man.
Later.
So now we're gonna transition over to the member questions. So Ken's gonna take it from here, and these are all of our patrons and YouTube members that sent in questions for you.
All right. First up, we got Joseph, who asked, "Have you ever thought about writing a children's book or young adult novel?"
Absolutely. So somebody suggested it to me, and then we just were on tour with D1. I'm sure you guys know D1.
Yes.
So D1 got on stage and he had a 45-minute set. In a 45-minute set, he did exactly 7 or 8 songs every night. Most of it was talking, and so he was like, he's just explaining his message to people, and he killed it. It was amazing. But he had a children's book at the merch table every night, and that was the number one seller on my tour. So it's me and Ant.
Oh wow!
And he's the support. And that was the number one seller. And I was like, man, he's onto something with this children's book. Because it's, you know, it's inexpensive, but it's packed with meaning. You can give it as a gift. It doesn't take up much space. You don't have to have the right size, like a t-shirt, you know what I mean? So when I saw that, I had already been thinking about it, but when I saw that, I was like, man, I got to get into this children's book thing.
Yeah, validation. That's what's up. All right, moving on. We'll go to Jose. Would you say your albums are reflective of your profession as both an artist and as a person?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to do. Like, to me, like, I want to make a good album that's just, you know, good by hip hop standards, but then also, I want it to like reflect where I was at in life at that time. So I have like a record of where my head and my heart and my life were at.
Dope.
But I think we all do that. I think even people that are just like, look at my car, look at my, you know, I think they're doing that too in their own way. I think we all do that.
Follow-up question he had, how do you balance rapping for rapping's sake and expressing what's in your heart and on your mind when making an album?
That's a great question. Yeah, I try to like. I'm not going to be motivated to. I'm not really going to be motivated enough if I'm not expressing what's going on inside. You know, so I try to have those two things be the same, and that's when when it actually happens, and like the music comes out of me, and we finish a project, and it's because both things happened. So I can't really do one without the other. Some things I listen to and I'm like, okay, I was rapping really hard on this one. And then other ones I'm like, man, these are like secrets I'm sharing on this thing. Sometimes they lean more towards one direction or the other, but I'm always trying to do both.
Got it. All right. Myke and Ike, 12. What's your favorite album ever made, and who are your favorite artists to collab with, plus any dream collabs?
Wow, my favorite album ever made.
That's hard. I know that's hard for you to pick.
People love asking that.
I know don't they?
They do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really tough, but like right now, I think it's The Ecstatic by Yasiin Bey. But it could easily be Black on Both Sides. It could easily be Death Certificate by Ice Cube. It could easily be Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. It could easily be Things Fall Apart by The Roots. It could easily be Like Water for Chocolate. It could.
Sorry, I know it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. I understand.
But I mean, this morning, me and my wife and kids listened to The Ecstatic by Yasiin Bey, and we just celebrated that. That
Ali,
album.
I can make a slight argument that album is just as good, if not better, than Black on Both Sides. I know people they go to Black on Both Sides, and that's an amazing project too. But I think we're so amazed by Black on Both Sides that we forget that Ecstatic is right there. Ecstatic.
I think Ecstatic
right
is better in terms of the writing. The like, if we're looking at it as a straight like artistic piece, it's a better album. It's incredible. And then it's not as accessible. You got to really listen. It's like,
and see, Black on Both Sides is more accessible than Ecstatic. So that's why it gets the edge for most people. But no, Ecstatic is there. Ecstatic is there for me.
Yeah, man. And I mean, that's where like you can put that next to any rapping that anybody has ever done in any time. It's like that's some of the best rapping that's ever been done. Maybe the best.
And then did you go to the artist collabs or any? I was just saying there's another part to this question. Favorite artist to collab with and any dream collabs. What's the other part of that question?
Producer.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the dream collab, I really want Yasiin to executive produce an album for me. That's what I want.
It's tough,
and I think it's possible.
No, tough in a good way. Like tough, like oh shit, like make that happen. Like that's dope.
Yeah. My favorite people to collab. It's weird. Like I don't collaborate a whole lot. Like I don't do it as much for as many friends as I have, and like I really love rappers. Like, and a lot of the people that I look up to the most are either they're really nice to me, or we're actually genuinely friends. I haven't got to rap next to Black Thought yet, and I really want to do that.
Oh, I want that one. I want that to happen.
I haven't got to rap with Yasiin yet, and I really want that. But me and Pharaoh are dear friends, and I did Pharaoh Monch.
Yes.
I rap next to Scarface. Me and Freeway are really close friends, and I've done that a couple times. I rap next to
I wasn't expecting you to rap against Rock Marciano. That was unexpected for me when I heard that.
Yeah,
the last album.
Yeah, Rock Marcy. I mean, Casual. To me, Casual is one of the most. He might be the most underrated MC of all time. I think he's in the top 10. And man, I think he's the West Coast Black Thought. I think, man, Casual is one of the most. Like everybody respects him, everybody loves him, but like when people give their top 10 list, and like you don't hear him come up many, like especially for people outside the Bay. But man, Casual is one of the greatest of all time. And so, one of the songs on Love and Service is me and A$AP Rocky and Casual. I always wanted to hear those two on a song together. And man, Casual takes the whole album to me. Like, man, he is.
That was one of the highlight features on that album was his joint. Yeah,
dude, he's right there with Black Thought. It's just his topics aren't the same. But they kind of are. He can do that too. Like he talks about Egyptology and like all this stuff. But it's like he'll talk about Egyptology and comic books and pimping and his sneakers and you know what I mean. Where Black Thought is like, historical figures and it's just a little bit more in a certain lane. But man, Casual is one of the most slept on dudes of all time. It's a sin, like it's a crime how underappreciated Casual is, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure Myke would appreciate that too. Like saying that.
Yeah, that's one of his favorites.
Yeah, this
guy said, if I don't be the first pimp to put a chick on the moon, I'm riding with a witch and a broom, and my dual exhaust is still cooling off. You came in your girl's house and my shoes were off and my shirt was off. I'm holding my smoke because it hurts to cough. She jerked me off. She went to Berkeley, boss. I knew it from back in the day, from rapping to macking how to happen this way. Dude, snaggle, push, snatch, hoes like jacks. Dude, he's just so amazing, man. Like it's so... And I would say, man, he even has an edge over Black Thought to me. Because Black Thought has a certain cadence that... He does different cadences, but he's got a certain... like comfort zone that he stays in. Yeah. Whereas like, man, Casual is just skating, man. He's so ill.
Skating is a good way to put it. Like, yeah, for sure.
Man. Casual.
All right. Two more. Danger. Because of how personal your work is, are there any songs of yours that you avoid playing live because of the emotional attachment behind the track? And the example is You Say Puppy Love.
That's I don't do that damn song. I did it. So when I first moved to Istanbul in 2020, I did a New Year's Eve live stream show. We were on like a rooftop in Istanbul looking over the city, and it was dope. And I put that song in there, and it's just there's no audience. It's just me and the camera and people watching at home. And as soon as it came on, I'm just like, oh no.
Man.
Yeah, man, that song. Yeah, I just don't do it. Cause it's like, man, it's so that was a really hard song to write, really just heartbreaking. It's about my wife and or it's like a song to my wife, but it's not a typical love song. And so I just feel like if I perform that song and people don't understand it, I would just have to leave the building or something. Like I just that to do that one, I would have to be, I don't know. It's either nobody can be there or everybody. I think that's the only way to do it is just if nobody's there. But yeah, that's the number one example of that for me.
Yeah, how do you get through writing something that tough? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it any point like, nah, you know what? Scratch that. I'm not writing about this. Or you just like, no, I have to get this out.
Have to.
Yeah.
Have to. Yeah. And then when I wanted to write that one, I sat and I like wrote out the lyrics for Stevie Wonder, All Is Fair in Love. All is fair in love. I like sat and wrote that, and I like wrote it different ways on the page. Like how would it feel to write a song like this? You know, and I like put the words in different types of clusters and like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I mean, I was just going through something that I'm like, man, and I don't know if anybody's made a song with that specific message before. I don't think anybody has.
That's an incredible Stevie song.
It is.
Yeah. Last one, Brendan. As someone inspired by the Chuck D types of hip hop, How does it feel about the lack of popular rappers taking political stances during times like Gaza, Trump, etc., plus even performing?
I don't understand. I can't. I can't. And you know, but I mean, also, like, I see what happens to me when I do say anything. I see how the faucet will get turned off. You know, especially talking about Gaza. I mean, you being pro-Palestinian will get all the lights turned off. It's the most cold thing that I've spoken up about a lot of stuff in my career. Nothing like that. I mean, that has, in 25 years of doing this professionally, last year from talking about Gaza, and the Love and Service album I made with a Jewish guy who's anti-Zionist. And man, I never had a shutdown like that before. So I understand that there's very real consequences, you know. But still, you know, it's just like, I always look at things from like a historical perspective, especially when it comes to race and how America treats, like what America expects from Black men as the creators of all of the culture that America's had. And it's like certain things can't happen. And then there's certain things that just can't happen publicly. So like a genuine and like real critique, it's like, no, you probably have to die for that. And then, you know, it's like being like smiling and being happy, or, you know, like reaffirming the idea, like the concept of what Black people are. So like if you're living out the stereotype, it's like, yeah, you can do that as much as you want. And if you're happy, you can do that as much as you want. And if you attack another Black man, oh man, you'll be really celebrated for that. Like mainstream white culture is really like, man, they love that. So it's weird because I'm like, okay, Kendrick has said a lot his whole career, and he has the right to say whatever he wants. You know what I mean? And clearly the culture is happy about what he's doing to Drake. So that's all fine. I have no opinion about any of that. But I'm just talking about like the Grammys, the Super Bowl, you know, and just seeing like hours and hours of white people who don't appear to have a deep history in hip hop, just like thoroughly poring over every line and every double, triple entendre of all the lyrics, and like people that have never cared about lyrics. I've never seen people show up. You know what I mean? Like they never did that over any other subject. And so the fact that he's tearing down another, no matter how light-skinned he is, no matter how corny he is, no matter whatever, he's tearing down another Black powerhouse, you know, genius, you know. Well, it's like, okay, who do I like better? Obviously, I like Kendrick, but you know, it's like the level of acceptance and celebration of that. It's like it's hard for me to not see it that way, you know. And the fact that like, okay, so he's allowed to dismantle this other Black man and like talk to his parents by name and talk to his children by name. That song's gonna live forever. Like that child is a real person. And you know, maybe the daughter isn't, but the son is, and like your dad's a horrible person and all this stuff. That's gonna live forever. And that is you know, that's a deep thing, you know. And again, I don't comment on things that like interpersonal Black or like intercommunal like Black conversations. Nobody should comment on those except Black people. But what I will talk about is the way that the white music industry and like you know, dominant culture receives that stuff and responds to it. So like, man, Kendrick has had so many amazing songs, amazing lines, amazing topics, amazing themes, amazing whatever. And there just was not the excitement, the level of excitement about that. It's like, you know, it's like when they, you know, they give Denzel Washington the Grammy or the Oscar.
Oscars for Training Day.
For Training Day.
But when
he did Malcolm X, it's
Malcolm X, yep.
Yeah, we don't really care about that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, give us Training Day, now we can celebrate you. it has that, it's got that echo. And again, it's nothing against Kendrick at all, but it's everything about, you know, that Mr. Morales album. There was so much in there that could be broken down and like talked about, and you know, all these hours of people trying to figure out what did he mean by that and what does this part mean, and like all this stuff that he's saying. And of course it's, you know, it's recognized and everything, but like when he made Good Kid, Mad City, they gave Macklemore the Grammy that year for an album called The Heist, which means to steal something. You know,
the irony of that.
I know,
yeah.
right?
I'm just saying what the title means. You know what I mean? But like, that's what you. And again, and that's not even anything against Macklemore. I know him. He's a nice guy. I knew him before he was famous. Nice guy, talented guy, hardworking guy. Does a lot of great things. It's not a diss. I'm not talking about Kendrick or Macklemore. I'm talking about the music industry, the dominant culture, and like what they celebrate and how they celebrate it. And yeah, that's a trip to me. And so the question was like, well, how come there's nobody talking about all of these topics in the music? And it's like, I think it's really, it might be a death sentence to do it, but I would love to see somebody try. Mm-hmm. I would love to see somebody try. And like, yeah, like the guy that asked the question is like, we grew up on artists like Chuck D. We grew up on artists like Ice Cube. You know, and that's my thing is like, okay, so Ice Cube was celebrated when he was talking about, you know, hood violence. As soon as he got out of NWA, as soon as he got away from Dr. Dre and he was with Public Enemy and he got away from Jimmy Iovine, you know.
He's with Bomb Squad and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you get America's Most Wanted, you get Death Certificate, you get The Predator and Lethal Injection, you get like militant Ice Cube. Mm-hmm. And I admit, that's what made me love rap. I loved it already, but like that's what made me be like, oh, I want to live my life by this. Like, you know, Chuck D is Farrakhan's a prophet that I think you ought to listen to, what he can say to you. And like, you know, Khalid Abdul Muhammad's talking on the records and like, you know, I just can't help. It's a tough pill to swallow that like Gaza is going on. And speaking of Macklemore, I mean, he's one of the people that did make a song and like he did actually say, you know, and he's independently wealthy. You know, like his run probably on the radio is done. And so now it's like, okay, I'm going to be, now I'm going to say something and be respected, you know, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, not a mumbling word about the genocide from almost anybody. It's not even like not only are the biggest rappers not talking about it, but like nobody. Except for Saul Williams and Immortal Technique and me and Yasiin Bey and you know, the people that always do.
Mm-hmm. On a popular rapper level, who do you think would, if it was anyone, who do you think has that ability or could do it or would even come close to doing it? If you had to think of a rapper that's on a popular level. I
mean, I think Kendrick definitely could. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Cole, maybe? Yeah, I think Cole definitely could. I think, you know, but it does say something that like, when you ask that question, you see like, who's popular now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And does anybody say anything? I mean, Kanye says stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want him to.
But that's just too much of a wild card. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, you know, you start saying like, that's not directly. So for somebody like Cole that speaks about Black American issues, that would require a more global perspective, which Ice Cube had, which Public Enemy had, which Dead Prez had, which Immortal Technique and Yasiin Bey, and like, you know, there was more of like a Pan-African diaspora type of, you know, riding with colonized, oppressed people around the world. Like that's a certain type of like sophistication and just like a broader worldview. Whereas like, you know, for J. Cole to do, all we want to do is take the chains off. It's like, man, that's beautiful, you know? And that it took a lot for him to even do that, you know, and for Kendrick to say the things that he said, you know. So it's like, it's not really their lane. So I think it's not so much that there's any one person that I would say like, why aren't you doing so and so? Because like, I don't know, do I think that they're in a place to be able to do that? Sadly, not really. You know. So yeah, like the like people are still edgy, but the edginess now is violence and vulgar sex stuff. Like that's the edginess.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, brother Ali. The chat is saying Lupe. You agree? That could and should talk about.
Yeah, well, you know, Lupe has just earned you do whatever you want status. Like just, you know what I mean? It's like with Lupe, it's like, man, just do whatever you think you need to do. And we're just so happy that you're here. You know what I mean? But yeah, Lupe has said stuff. Lupe has always like, I guess I can't think specifically of what he said about Gaza, but I mean, Lupe is not afraid of anything. Like Lupe is not afraid to say what he thinks about any and everything. So yeah, I don't know if he said something specifically about Gaza, but he does have the worldview, the understanding, you know, he does.
And people will listen. A lot of people listen to Lupe. When Lupe's talk, when Lupe speaks, tweets, or whatever, it gets covered. Definitely.
Yeah,
so
even if people don't agree with him. Yeah. I mean, Lupe is a person that is just, what an incredible human being. And a lot of times when he's talking, I don't agree with him. But I'm just happy he's saying, you know, another one is Killer Myke or LP.
Yes. Yep.
Like they both Myke have. Definitely. Yeah, but I mean, LP has been critical of colonialism and the war machine, and like he spoke up during 9/11. But again, that's in his backyard. He's a New Yorker, you know. And Killer Myke is always very clear on like he's talking about Black issues, which is like it's like you're right. That's home to that's home. But I will say like what like a Dead Prez understood is that
that's a good one.
You know that what happens in Palestine is absolutely connected. Like Dead Prez has been to Palestine. You know what I mean? So there is that, you know, that I just don't know if a lot of folks are necessarily there. But I mean, everybody watched it. Everybody's seen the footage. Everybody knows. You know what I mean? It's like I just know that I think with Gaza in particular, like if you say anything at all, the pushback that you're gonna get is so advanced, like, you know, that it's like, do I know how to argue against what they're gonna come at me with? Like they're gonna accuse me of everything under the sun if I say anything about this. And do I know enough? You gotta be an expert on the subject to say anything, because people are going to come at you with the craziest stuff. I mean, they've spent the last 100 years making sure that this conversation is where it's at. So, you know, on the one hand, I do understand, but it is crazy. It's crazy that that a whole genocide happened on our phones, and really nobody with the spotlight really did or said anything.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The last one was a super chat. Just says, Ali the GOAT, man, RIP idea.
Yeah, RIP idea. DJ Abilities is going to be the DJ on my next tour.
Oh,
nice. Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be hard. That'll be dope.
You know what cities you're going to be touring in? Like where is it? Yeah,
we just announced it. We got a show in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I've heard from Sa Rock and Soul Messiah that they're like, yo, you want us to do something? And maybe Merce and D1. And yeah, so right now it's and we're just about to announce that JB. Are y'all familiar with JB?
I don't think I am. JB. No, I'm not familiar with JB.
So JB's been doing it for a long time, but he just put an album out on Mellow Music, and it's amazing, so dope. Y'all should really check out this JB record.
Okay. If it's on Mellow, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. And so we just kind of like worked out all the details. And so we haven't announced it yet, but JB is going to be the support on that tour with DJ Abilities.
Okay.
So yeah, so it'll be JB, and yeah, we're talking to other folks about coming through. And yeah, Superstition said he's coming. Yeah, so that's dope.
Okay,
That's what's up.
Definitely make sure we swing through for that.
Yep, Brother Ali, I just want to say, look, we took up 1 hour and 20 of your time. I told you only an hour, but it was a good conversation. It was a good conversation, a long time, so we definitely won't go 11 years before having you back.
No.
So hopefully, it won't be 11 years. We promise that. I keep saying in a lot of our videos that, we're getting back to basics. We went away from the interviews and stuff like that. But we're getting back to it, and that's why we created this format. And we have an idea for a follow-up. So we haven't worked that out yet. But, we already got verbal kind of commits from our first two. Not putting no pressure on you, but I think that once we come out with the details of the follow-up to this, I think you would definitely be down. So
people say you already know. People always say you already know, but you literally already know. Like I've told you from the very beginning,
you did.
Like, yeah, I'm down for whatever. Like I'm here for whatever.
Appreciate that, man. For
absolutely,
real.
always.
Yep. Yeah.
What is the date in Atlanta? Just so our fan base and we can wrap our heads around it.
I don't know the exact date, but it's in the first week of May.
Perfect.
So like everything's on brotherali.com. All the dates.
May 1st. I just looked it up, and it said May 1st, 8 p.m.
Perfect. So yeah, we'll definitely put something in the gumbo pot and cook it up. So yeah, but now we appreciate you, Brother Ali.
I appreciate
amazing.
Man, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was such a pleasure to talk to you again, man. For real.
I know.
Man,
always.
Man. For real. And thank you again for the exclusive listen too. So that was dope.
Yes.
Looking forward to the album this Friday, man. Looking forward to
yes, indeed. Yeah, Satisfied Soul drops on Friday. The vinyl ships in March. But yeah, and I'll be in America doing different press things and like that next week.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Again, we appreciate you, and this is another listening. Shout out to patrons and YouTube members for submitting all your questions, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. We got another Chicago legend coming. Another one.
That's what's up. Peace.